Hello and welcome back to Focus Atlanta. Again, I am your host, Keisha Lancelin. Thanks so much for continuing to watch. Matthias Berninger is the head of public affairs, sustainability, and safety for Bayers. The Science Under Siege report, a new landmark survey conducted by the Harris Poll and commissioned by Bayer, is a part of its Science Delivers initiative. It highlights a critical tension in how Americans consume and trust scientific information. The survey reveals a headline only culture and a whole generation that may be less likely to trust doctors and scientists, with Americans feeling deep anxiety over misinformation while overwhelmingly believing science is essential to America's future.
One thing that I find deeply concerning is a paradoxical finding. We are looking more and more for social media when it comes to science. And we kind of know that the emotional headline grabbing, attraction seeking way of social media is undermining trust in science, but we still can't get our eyeballs off social media. And at the same time, even though we know it, our way of consuming science erodes trust in the very scientific institutions we need to rely on. The scientific process, but also the doctor we go to for medical advice. So quite concerning to see how social media has taken over as a key source in how we consume science, and even more consuming that trend really is very palpable amongst the younger generation.
Bayer's Science Delivers initiative aims to bridge the gap by inviting Americans to celebrate how science delivers answers, hope, and progress, while learning how to spot misinformation and push back against fear-mongering and pseudoscience.
Well, many of the founding fathers were believers in scientific progress, and the 250 years of American history is also a history of a deep belief in scientific progress, in constant reinventing of the country. We need to get back to that, and we need to find places where the country can come together. And the most exciting news about the Harris Poll is that science is a place where the United States can come together.
Key findings from the poll include 80% of Americans blame social media for spreading misinformation about science and health, yet they continue to use it as their primary source for science and health information. 51% of young adults aged 18 to 34 use social media as their primary source for scientific and health information, and about 1 in 5 distrust doctors and scientists for this information. Large majorities of Americans are feeling angry and worried about their well-being and the well-being of their families when encountering such science and health misinformation.
What really surprised me, given that we are a country that hardly can agree on anything anymore, is how broad the consensus amongst Americans is that we need to advance science, that we need to trust in science, that science is really important. And I think that's something we can build on, the fact that we all agree how important science is. The other thing that I find encouraging is what I would call wisdom of the crowds finding. Americans, rightly so, believe that China is catching up when it comes to investing in science and becomes a sizable competitor on the science front. And this finding is also very helpful because it gives us cause to rally behind changing the current trend, turning around from the current trend of eroded trust in science.
Americans want to lead on science, but few actually believe the US is leading. Only 19% believe the United States currently leads China in scientific research, while 33% believe the US is falling behind.
What we would like to achieve is that people reflect on the scientific process. It doesn't mean that we need to believe in a scientific finding. In fact, Science is all about questioning scientific findings. If we were continuing to believe in old scientific findings, we perhaps would still believe the world is flat. So science is continuously advancing. When you're a company that, like Bayer, invests a lot in research and development, you are perpetually unhappy with the state of science. You want to improve things. You want to find a new cure, for example, for Parkinson. You want to help farmers who suffer from extreme weather events to be able to grow their crops in a better way. So this perpetual unhappiness, this ability to question scientific findings is really important, but it's a complex process. So to help people to be able to do that better is one part of the campaign, but the other part is to reflect on how science has improved our lives, what science has done to us, either in the past or most recently.
Despite deep political divides, approximately 9 in 10 Republicans and Democrats agree that rigorous science is necessary for continued human progress, and that the U.S. should play a leading role in global scientific research.
We as a company hugely invest in science. We have lots of scientists working for us directly. And we believe that this balance of public and private investment in research and development is the way to go. But in order to defend it, we need more trust in science, which is why we as a company were motivated to start this campaign, Science Delivers. And Science Delivers should allow us to be able to look deeper into what science is really about, but also to reflect on where science has delivered for us, for our families, recently or in the past.
The Science Delivers campaign gives Americans a glimpse into scientific milestones that have transformed the way we live, work, and care for ourselves and our planet.
You can easily find more information on sciencedelivers.com, but you should also go and leverage your new tools at your hand, artificial intelligence, and learn about how to better be in a dialogue, to better inquire using the new artificial intelligence tools. Our scientists are doing that. Most medical professionals are doing that. And I think all of us can greatly benefit from using artificial intelligence tools in the right way, which means not using it as an oracle.
Please take the opportunity to visit the website and learn more. And stay tuned to Focus Atlanta. We'll be right back.